A single orange light glides silently through the Arkansas woods, vanishing when you try to approach. This is the enduring mystery of the Oak Grove lights, a phenomenon witnessed by countless people for generations. By the end of this journey, you will have all the evidence to decide for yourself what dances in those dark fields. Is it a natural trick of the earth, a lost spirit forever searching, or something far stranger from beyond our world? What hidden truth do you believe is waiting to be found in the dark? Nestled deep in the heart of the Arkansas River Valley lies the quiet, unassuming community of Oak Grove. This is a place of rolling hills and dense, shadowy woods where the night is truly dark and the silence is broken only by the sounds of nature. The roads are narrow and winding, flanked by old farms and thickets of trees that seem to swallow the daylight. It feels a world away from the bustle of modern life, a pocket of rural America where stories are passed down through generations. The very atmosphere here seems to hold its breath, waiting for the dark to fall. And it is along one particular stretch of road, a lonely ribbon of asphalt known locally as Oak Grove Road, where the boundary between our world and something else grows thin. The lights are most often seen in a specific field or hovering just above the tree line in a certain hollow, a place long marked by local legend. If you were to stand there at dusk, you would feel the weight of the history. This land has witnessed the comings and goings of families for over a century, the joys and sorrows of a small community etched into its soil. That specific field, that exact curve in the road, is more than just a pin on a map. It is a stage for one of the most persistent and puzzling mysteries in the entire region. What is it about this particular patch of earth that calls to the lights, inviting them to dance in the darkness, year after year, for anyone brave enough to look? A school teacher driving home one evening in the late 1960s was the first to report it to any official body. She described a single, soft orange light pacing her car just beyond the tree line. It moved with a purpose, a slow, deliberate glide that matched her speed for nearly a mile before it winked out of existence. She insisted she was not a superstitious woman, but the experience left her so unsettled she felt compelled to report it, though she never received any satisfying answer. Decades later, in the 1990s, a group of teenagers seeking adventure parked their truck on that same stretch of road. They turned off the headlights and waited in the thick silence. One of them, a young man now grown, recalls the moment a brilliant white orb, like a distant star, detached itself from the blackness of the hills. It floated down toward the road, growing in size and intensity until it illuminated the very asphalt in front of them. Then, as if noticing their presence, it shot sideways into the woods faster than anything they had ever seen, leaving behind only the echo of their own startled breaths. What ties these stories together across generations is the consistency of the details. The light is almost always described as a single sphere, its color ranging from a warm amber to a stark, electric white. It moves with an intelligence that feels anything like a random reflection. It approaches, it retreats, and it vanishes without a sound. A farmer who has lived on that land his entire life told of seeing the light in the very field where his grandfather once saw it. He described it bobbing gently above the tall grass, a silent sentinel that ignored his shouts and his flashlight beam, simply fading away when he took a step too close. These are not stories from unreliable sources. They are accounts from teachers, farmers, mechanics, and students, people with nothing to gain from a tall tale. They all speak of the same place, the same behavior, the same unexplainable light. When so many different eyes, across so many different years, describe the exact same phenomenon with such conviction, it forces a single, compelling question. What are they all truly seeing out there in the dark? That same light, witnessed across generations, follows a strange but consistent pattern of behavior. It is most often a single orb, glowing with a soft, internal light that does not cast any illumination on the trees or ground around it. Witnesses describe its size as similar to a distant lantern, or sometimes as large as a basketball held at arm's length. The color is not fixed. It can be a warm, almost welcoming amber, like the glow from an old fireplace. At other times, it is a stark, brilliant white, so intense it seems to pulse with a silent energy. Its movement is what truly separates it from any ordinary source of light. It does not simply appear and disappear. It dances, it hovers in a fixed spot for minutes at a time, perfectly still, as if observing the road below. Then it might begin to bob and weave through the air with a slow, fluid grace, tracing unseen paths above the field. This is when it feels most alive, most conscious. Many reports describe its interaction with vehicles. A car driving down Oak Grove Road at night might find itself accompanied. The light will emerge from the tree line and begin to pace the vehicle, matching its speed precisely. It will glide alongside for 100 yards, or sometimes for nearly a mile, a silent companion on a dark road. If the car slows down, the light slows down. If the car speeds up, so does the light. This intelligent mimicry is one of its most chilling traits. Then comes the most baffling part of the entire encounter, the moment of its departure. The light never fades slowly like a dying ember. It does not shoot off into the sky like a meteor. When it decides to leave, it simply vanishes. One moment it is there, a tangible sphere of light hovering just beyond the ditch. In the blink of an eye, it is gone, leaving behind nothing but darkness and a profound sense of wonder. This elusive nature is its signature. You cannot chase it. The moment you step out of your car with the intention of getting closer, it winks out of existence. It seems to react to human intention, appearing only when it chooses to be seen and disappearing the moment a direct approach is made. This is not the behavior of a swamp gas bubble or a distant car headlight. This is the performance of something that knows it is being watched. Long before cars traveled Oak Grove Road, the land itself held stories. The rolling hills and dense woods of the Arkansas River Valley have been home to people for thousands of years, and their legends are woven into the very soil. Among the earliest were the Quapaw and Osage nations who inhabited these lands and possessed deep spiritual beliefs about the natural world. While specific oral histories are closely guarded, a recurring theme in the lore of many tribes involves spirits of the land, sometimes seen as protective, sometimes as mischievous, often appearing as mysterious lights to guide or to warn the people. These were not mere ghost stories, they were explanations for the unexplainable, a way to understand the strange energies that seem to pulse from certain places after dark. When European settlers arrived in the 19th century, they brought their own superstitions and fears into this ancient landscape. They built farms and carved out roads like the one through Oak Grove, and with them came new tales. One persistent local legend speaks of a pioneer farmer from the late 1800s who vanished one night while checking on a disturbance in his fields. He was never seen again, but some say a strange, bobbing light appeared on his property the very next evening and has been seen there ever since. Another folktale tells of a traveling peddler who was robbed and murdered on that lonely stretch of road, his lantern left broken on the ground. The story claims his spirit still wanders, searching for his lost goods with an eternal flame. These settler legends are fascinating, but they feel almost like echoes, attempts to pin a human face onto a phenomenon that is far older and much more mysterious. The lights were not created by these tragic tales, the tales were created by the lights. Each generation that encounters the phenomenon seems to craft a new story to explain it, layering their own cultural fears and beliefs over mystery that refuses to be solved. The Native American traditions spoke of earth spirits, the settlers spoke of ghosts, and today we might speak of extraterrestrials or unknown energy fields. The light remains the same, a constant through the centuries, while the stories we tell about it change. This historical backdrop does not explain the Oak Grove lights, but it does something perhaps more important. It tells us that people have been seeing this exact same thing for a very, very long time. The phenomenon is not a modern invention, it is a thread that runs through the entire human history of this place. So when you stand on that dark road tonight, you are not just looking for a light. You are participating in a ritual of wonder that connects you to a Quapaw storyteller, a puzzled settler, and every curious soul in between. What name would you give to the light if you had seen it with your own eyes 100 years ago? Of course, such a persistent mystery has not gone unnoticed by those who seek answers in the physical world. The first and most common explanation offered by skeptics is the phenomenon of swamp gas. This theory suggests that decaying organic matter in the low-lying fields releases methane, which can sometimes ignite spontaneously, creating a fleeting, ghostly flame. On the surface, it seems plausible. The area is rural and has the necessary conditions. Yet this theory falters under closer examination. Swamp gas, or will-o'-the-wisp as it is often called, produces a faint, bluish flame that hovers just inches above the ground. It flickers and dances weakly, often extinguished by the slightest breeze. The Oak Grove light is described as a robust, self-contained orb of amber or white light. It moves with purpose and intelligence, pacing cars and maneuvering through the air high above the fields. It does not flicker, and it vanishes instantly, not gently snuffed out. The sheer consistency and intelligent behavior witnessed for over a century simply do not match the chaotic, ground-hugging nature of swamp gas. Another candidate from the world of rare atmospheric events is ball lightning. This is a mysterious but documented phenomenon where a sphere of electrical energy appears during thunderstorms, sometimes drifting through the air before vanishing silently or with a pop. Could this explain the lights? The main problem here is the conditions. Ball lightning is almost exclusively tied to active thunderstorms, with the electrical activity in the air serving as its catalyst. The vast majority of Oak Grove light sightings occur on clear, calm nights with no storms for miles around. Furthermore, ball lightning is typically short-lived, lasting only a few seconds. The lights in Arkansas have been observed for many minutes at a time, performing their slow, deliberate dance. While ball lightning is a fascinating scientific puzzle in its own right, it does not align with the specific, repeated circumstances of this Arkansas enigma. Perhaps the most compelling scientific theory involves the very earth beneath Oak Grove Road. The Arkansas River Valley is rich in quartz, a mineral with a special property known as piezoelectricity. This is a simple yet powerful concept. When certain crystals, like quartz, are put under mechanical stress, they generate a small electrical charge. Think of pressing a piezoelectric lighter, the click and the spark that ignites the gas. Now imagine that on a geological scale, the theory proposes that deep underground, shifting tectonic plates or the immense weight of the hills themselves could squeeze vast deposits of quartz crystal. This pressure would generate massive electrical potentials, which could discharge into the air as glowing spheres of plasma, appearing as our mysterious lights. This theory elegantly explains why the phenomenon is tied to a specific location, as it would require that unique geological makeup. It even offers a reason for the light's movement, as the point of stress underground could shift. Yet even this thoughtful idea hits a wall. While piezoelectricity can create sparks and even sustained glows under lab conditions, there is no verified scientific evidence that it can produce the large, stable, intelligently moving orbs described by so many witnesses. The theory explains a possible source of energy, but it does not account for the light's most baffling characteristic, its apparent awareness and reaction to observers. How could a release of geological energy know to pace a car or disappear the moment a person steps out of it? Finally, there is the theory of atmospheric reflections or refractions. This suggests that the light is a mirage, a bending of light from a distant source, like the headlights of a car on a faraway highway or the bright lights of a town just over the horizon. The unique atmospheric conditions in the valley, with layers of cool and warm air, could theoretically act like a lens, projecting and distorting a common light source into something extraordinary. This is a proven phenomenon responsible for many UFO sightings, but does it hold up for Oak Grove? The light's described behavior is its downfall once more. A refracted light would be passive, a simple projection on the air. It would not interact, it would not pace a vehicle, matching its speed and then darting away. It would not vanish the instant a person tries to approach it, because the source of the light is miles away and completely unaware of the observer. A reflection does not possess intention, and the Oak Grove light, according to countless testimonies, very clearly does. Each of these scientific explanations offers a piece of the puzzle, a glimpse at a possible mechanism, yet each one, upon close inspection, fails to fully capture the complete picture of what has been seen for generations. They explain the light, but not the dance. They explain the energy, but not the intelligence. If it is not swamp gas, not ball lightning, not a piezoelectric spark, and not a simple reflection, then what force is guiding this luminous presence through the Arkansas night? The search for a rational answer only deepens the mystery, leading us to the edge of what we currently understand and pointing toward possibilities that defy conventional explanation. Perhaps the most compelling clue lies not in the air, but deep within the ground beneath Oak Grove Road. This region of the Arkansas River Valley sits atop a complex and restless geological foundation. Running through the area are ancient, unseen fractures known as fault lines. These are not active in the dramatic sense of causing earthquakes, but they are zones of weakness where the Earth's crust has shifted over millennia. Such faults allow for the constant, subtle movement of bedrock, creating immense pressure on the surrounding stone. This pressure acts upon one of the area's most abundant minerals, quartz. Quartz crystals are scattered throughout the local sandstone and shale, and they possess a fascinating property called piezoelectricity. The name sounds complex, but the concept is beautifully simple. Piezoelectricity is the ability of certain crystals to generate a small electrical voltage when they are physically squeezed or stressed. You experience this every time you use a common gas grill lighter. When you press the button, a tiny spring-loaded hammer strikes a piece of quartz, creating a spark that ignites the gas. Now envision that same principle operating on a monumental geological scale. The theory suggests that the slow, grinding pressure along these fault lines, the sheer weight of the hills themselves, could be compressing vast subterranean beds of quartz crystal. This relentless squeezing would generate not a tiny spark, but a massive buildup of electrical potential. This energy has to go somewhere. Proponents of this idea believe it discharges into the air above the fields as glowing spheres of ionized gas or plasma, appearing to us as the mysterious orbs of light. This geological theory provides a powerful explanation for why the phenomenon is so fiercely localized to this specific patch of land. It is not a random event, it is tied directly to a unique underground recipe of shifting faults and piezoelectric minerals found right here. It even offers a potential reason for the light's movement, as the point of maximum stress underground could migrate, causing the point of discharge, the light itself, to glide and dance across the landscape. Yet, for all its elegance, this idea confronts a significant hurdle. While laboratory experiments show that piezoelectricity can create brief sparks and sustained glows, there is no verified scientific evidence that it can produce the large, stable, and intelligently maneuvering orbs described for over a century. The theory brilliantly explains a possible power source, a battery deep within the Earth, but it does not account for the light's most haunting characteristic, its apparent consciousness. How could a simple release of pent-up geological energy known to pace a car, match its speed, or vanish the very second a curious observer steps out of their vehicle? The Earth may provide the fuel, but what, then, provides the guiding hand? That guiding hand might not come from the Earth, but from our own minds. We are a species of storytellers, and a strange, dancing light in the darkness is a blank canvas waiting for a narrative. The raw phenomenon of the Oak Grove lights is one thing, a mysterious visual event. The legend that surrounds it is another, a rich tapestry woven over generations by the human need to explain the unexplainable. Think about the very first time someone saw that orange orb gliding above the field. They went home and told their family. The story did not end with, "I saw a strange light." It began with, "I saw a strange light," and then came the inevitable question, what was it? Without a scientific answer, the human imagination rushes in to fill the void. That light became the ghost of the lost farmer, forever searching his land. It became the lantern of the murdered traveler, a warning to others on the lonely road. These are not lies, they are interpretations, attempts to clothe a baffling event in a familiar shape. Our brains are hardwired to find patterns and assign agency, to see a face in the clouds or intention in a random event. When a light seems to pace your car, it feels like it is watching you. When it vanishes as you approach, it feels like it is hiding. This perception of intelligent behavior is the fertile ground where folklore takes root. Every time a new person hears the old ghost story and then goes out and sees the light for themselves, the legend is reinforced. They are not just seeing a light, they are seeing the peddler's lantern. The story gives the phenomenon meaning, context, and a chilling sense of history, transforming a mere anomaly into a character in a local drama. This process is not unique to Oak Grove, it is how mysteries become legends all over the world. The same light, witnessed by a person who has never heard the tales, might be reported as a curious UFO. For the local raised on the stories, it is unquestionably a spirit. The light itself remains constant, but the story we tell about it is a mirror, reflecting our own fears, our culture, and our deepest questions about what might linger in the shadows just beyond the safe circle of the campfire. The folklore does not create the light, but it absolutely creates the haunting. It provides the script for our encounter, telling us not only what we are seeing, but how we should feel about it. So when you feel a chill watching that amber orb bob in the distance, is that fear coming from the light itself, or from the generations of whispered stories that now live in your mind? The legend has done its work, turning a visual puzzle into an emotional experience, ensuring that the mystery of the lights is not just seen, but felt. This Arkansas mystery is far from alone. Scattered across the globe, in isolated valleys and along forgotten roads, other enigmatic lights perform their own nightly rituals. Just a few states away in the vast Chihuahuan desert of Texas, the Marfa lights have baffled observers for over a century. Seen from a designated viewing area, they appear as shimmering orbs of white, yellow, or red, dancing and splitting apart above the distant Mitchell Flat. Like the Oak Grove lights, they are a celebrated local legend, drawing countless visitors hoping for a glimpse. Yet a key difference emerges in their behavior. The Marfa lights are often described as more distant and atmospheric, a celestial ballet on the horizon. They rarely exhibit the direct, interactive quality of the Arkansas phenomenon, which seems to take a personal interest in those who watch it, pacing cars and reacting to approach. Travel further east to the rugged Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, and you will find the legendary Brown Mountain Lights. These glowing spheres, documented in Cherokee lore long before European settlement, rise from the dense forests of the Pisgah National Forest. Their color and movement bear a striking resemblance to the Oak Grove lights, with reports of red, white, and amber orbs floating, darting, and vanishing. This shared trait of ancient, pre-modern sightings is profoundly significant. It tells us that these are not glitches of the modern world, not misidentified airplane lights or reflections from a new highway. They are phenomena rooted deep in the land itself. The primary distinction often cited is one of scale. The Brown Mountain Lights are sometimes witnessed in groups, a small constellation of mysteries, whereas the Oak Grove light is almost always a solitary performer. Yet at their core, all these lights share a common, defiant thread. They resist every attempt at a single, conclusive explanation. Scientific studies have been conducted at each location, proposing car headlights for Marfa, piezoelectric discharges for Brown Mountain, and atmospheric refractions for Oak Grove. Yet for every theory offered, a handful of well-documented sightings break the rules, displaying behaviors that no conventional science can comfortably contain. The true connection between these distant beacons may not be a shared scientific cause, but a shared human experience. They are reminders that pockets of pure mystery still exist, challenging our understanding and inviting us to look into the darkness with a sense of wonder. If these lights are all manifestations of the same unknown principle, what does that say about the hidden nature of our world? Perhaps the most human explanation for the light is also the oldest. It is the ghost of a railroad worker swinging his lantern as he searches the tracks for something he lost on the night he died. This is the tale you will most often hear in Oak Grove, a story passed down so many times it has become part of the local soil. The details shift with the telling, but the core remains the same: a man, a tragedy, and an eternal, lonely vigil. He is said to have been a section hand on the old railroad that once cut through the area, a laborer maintaining the tracks. One night, a terrible accident claimed his life, perhaps a fall or a sudden slip beneath the wheels of a train. Now his spirit cannot rest, forever doomed to patrol his section of the line, his lantern casting that familiar amber glow as he searches for his lost tools, or perhaps for his own way home. The emotional power of this story is undeniable. It gives a name and a purpose to the unexplained light, transforming it from a random anomaly into a tragic figure. It makes the mystery personal, even sorrowful. When you see that orb bobbing gently above the field, you are not just seeing a light, you are witnessing a soul in torment. This narrative resonates because it speaks to universal human fears and hopes, the idea that love or duty can bind a spirit to a place, and that some part of us might persist beyond the final moment. The story fits the observed behavior almost perfectly. The light's slow, deliberate pacing mirrors a man walking his route. Its appearance along a specific path aligns with an old railroad worker's beat. Its sudden disappearance when approached could be the spirit vanishing, aware of the living but unwilling or unable to interact. Yet, for all its narrative elegance, the ghost story falters on one critical point: hard evidence. Searches through local historical records, newspapers, and county archives have consistently failed to turn up any record of a railroad worker meeting a tragic death in that precise location. No obituary, no accident report, no faded article in a local paper confirms the tale. It exists entirely in the realm of oral tradition, a powerful story that has outlived its own factual origins, if it ever had any. This does not make the experience of seeing the light any less real for the witness. In fact, it highlights the profound difference between evidence and experience. The ghost story provides no verifiable proof, but it offers something else: a profound, emotional framework. It allows a person to process a deeply strange event by placing it within a familiar context of loss and remembrance. The light becomes a character in a story, and in doing so, it becomes less frightening and more hauntingly beautiful. So the question is not whether the ghost is real in a historical sense, but what it represents. Is it the literal spirit of a lost worker, or is it the spirit of the place itself, a manifestation of all the history, toil, and memory soaked into that land, given form as a gentle, searching light? The story endures not because it is provably true, but because it feels true, offering a sliver of meaning in the face of an enduring mystery. Perhaps the light is not from our world at all. For many who have witnessed its impossible maneuvers, the most compelling explanation lies not in geology or folklore, but in the stars. The characteristics of the Oak Grove lights align remarkably with classic reports of unidentified flying objects. Its sudden appearance and instantaneous vanishing act defy our understanding of physics. Its ability to pace vehicles and react to observers suggests a controlled intelligence behind the phenomenon. Proponents of the extraterrestrial hypothesis point to these traits as evidence of a technology far beyond our own. Imagine a drone, but one that operates without any sound, without any visible means of propulsion, and with an awareness that seems to border on telepathy. This is not a random ball of energy, they argue. This is a probe, a scout, something that is observing us just as we are observing it. The light's solitary nature fits the pattern of a reconnaissance device, a single sensor silently collecting data on a remote stretch of human infrastructure. Why this particular road? Perhaps it is a convenient landmark, or maybe the same geological forces that create piezoelectric discharges also generate a form of energy that these visitors can detect or utilize. This theory transforms the quiet Arkansas field from a haunted stage into a cosmic crossroads, a place where humanity briefly brushes against something utterly alien. While no government agency has ever officially investigated these lights, the consistency of the sightings has drawn the attention of independent UFO researchers. One investigator who has spent decades cataloging similar events across the country stated that the Oak Grove phenomenon is one of the most persistent and credible cases he has ever encountered. He notes that the light's behavior, the silent hovering, the intelligent interaction, the definitive lack of any prosaic explanation, places it in a rare category of high strangeness events that challenge the very framework of what we believe is possible. For those who subscribe to this view, the mystery is solved. The light is not a ghost, and it is not a spark from the earth. It is a visitor. This interpretation invites a profound shift in perspective. Every car that slows down on that dark road, every set of eyes that scans the tree line, is not just watching a local legend. They are participating in a first contact scenario that has been quietly unfolding for generations. The question is no longer what the light is, but who is on the other side of it and what they might be learning about us. Our own minds may be the most powerful lens through which we view the Oak Grove lights. A fundamental quirk of human perception is pareidolia, the brain's instinctive tendency to find familiar patterns in random stimuli. This is why we see a face in the moon, a shape in the clouds, or the Virgin Mary on a piece of toast. In the profound darkness of an Arkansas night, with only a single, ambiguous light for reference, this neurological wiring goes into overdrive. A random, drifting movement is not just a drift, it becomes a purposeful approach. A simple hovering is not just a hover, it becomes an intelligent observation. The brain, desperate for a signal in the noise, imposes a narrative of intention onto a phenomenon that may have none. This is amplified dramatically by the power of expectation and suggestion. A person who has never heard the legends might see the light and report an unusual atmospheric event. But a person who has spent their life hearing the tragic tale of the railroad worker arrives on that road already primed for a ghost. Their mind is subconsciously searching for the clues that confirm the story, connecting the dots to see a lantern swing where there is only a smooth glide, to feel a sense of sorrow where there is only silent mystery. The legend itself creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of perception. Consider a simple experiment. If you are told that a faint, indistinct sound in the next room is a mouse, you will likely feel a small curiosity. If you are told the same sound is a lurking intruder, your heart will pound with fear. The sound itself has not changed, but your interpretation, guided by suggestion, transforms your entire reality. This is the psychological landscape of an Oak Grove witness. The raw sensory input of the light is filtered through a powerful pre-existing story, and the mind, eager to make sense of the unknown, delivers an experience that feels intensely personal and real. This does not mean the light is not there or that witnesses are lying. It means the human element is an inseparable part of the mystery. The phenomenon is a collaboration between an external event and the internal machinery of our own consciousness, a dance between something in the world and the stories we tell ourselves about what we are seeing. When you stand on that dark road, waiting, are you watching the light, or are you watching your own mind at work? Capturing the elusive Oak Grove lights on camera has become a modern quest for proof. In the 1980s, a local man armed with a bulky VHS camcorder managed to record a few minutes of shaky footage. The tape shows a distant, steady white light hovering above the tree line. For a moment it appears to pulse, then it slides slowly to the left before the recording abruptly ends. While compelling to those who know the area, the footage is often dismissed by skeptics as a distant star or a plane landing in the next county, its very ambiguity its greatest weakness. The dawn of the digital age brought new hope and new tools. Enthusiasts with high-resolution cameras and tripods have staked out the field, determined to document the phenomenon with crystal clarity. Yet the light seems to defy modern technology. Autofocus systems hunt uselessly in the dark, failing to lock onto the shimmering orb. Footage often comes out grainy and blurred, the light appearing as an overexposed smudge against the blackness, its defined edges lost to the camera's sensor. The most frustrating challenge is one of scale and context. Without a familiar object in the frame for comparison, a light that appears large and close to the naked eye can be easily dismissed on video as a tiny, distant, and mundane source. A photographer who spent 3 years trying to get the perfect shot described the paradox. "Your eyes see something breathtaking and intelligent," he said, "but the camera captures what looks like a blurry dot." This evidentiary gap fuels endless debate in online forums and local gatherings. Is the light fundamentally unphotographable, its true nature existing just outside the spectrum of what our machines can record? Or does its elusive quality simply prove how easily our own perceptions can be tricked by the dark, turning a passing car into a phantom and a star into a specter? The search for a perfect image continues, a digital holy grail that would finally settle the argument, yet the light remains, as ever, just beyond the frame. For the people who call Oak Grove home, the light is more than a mystery, it is a neighbor. Its constant, silent presence has woven itself into the very fabric of their community, creating a shared identity that is both a point of pride and a source of quiet complication. Longtime residents speak of the phenomenon with a sense of ownership, a familiarity that comes from a lifetime of glances toward that dark field. One elderly woman, whose family has lived on the same farm for 5 generations, recalled how her grandfather would sit on the porch after supper, not to look for the light, but simply to acknowledge it if it chose to appear. "It was never a frightening thing to us," she explained, her voice steady and calm. "It was just part of the land, like the old oak tree down by the creek. You knew it was there and you let it be." This deep-seated, almost mundane acceptance stands in stark contrast to the thrill-seeking tourists who arrive with cameras and high expectations. For locals, the light is not a spectacle, it is a piece of their history, a silent character in the story of their home. This has fostered a unique communal bond. The shared experience of the lights gives residents a common ground, a topic of conversation at the local diner or the gas station that is entirely their own. It is a marker of belonging. You have not truly lived in Oak Grove until you have your own light story to tell. This transforms the phenomenon from a mere curiosity into a cornerstone of local identity, a gentle, glowing thread that ties generations together. Yet this quiet pride now coexists with the complications of outside attention. Over the years, word has spread, drawing a steady trickle of visitors hoping to witness the legend for themselves. On the one hand, this has brought a certain quiet fame. The local economy gets a subtle boost from the occasional car stopping for gas or a late-night snack. There is a sense of validation, too, that their local story is compelling enough to attract people from distant cities, but with the visitors come the nuisances. Residents talk of increased traffic on their narrow, winding roads late into the night. They find litter left in the fields where people have waited for hours, beer cans and food wrappers desecrating the very landscape they hold sacred. There are stories of trespassers, of people ignoring no trespassing signs to get a better view, shining bright flashlights into private fields and disturbing livestock. For some, the magic of their personal mystery is diluted by the crowds. The solitude of the experience, the feeling of a private audience with the unknown, is shattered by the line of cars parked along the roadside on a Saturday night. One lifelong resident put it bluntly, "It used to be our secret," he said. "Now, sometimes it feels like we are living in a zoo, and the light is the main exhibit." This tension between cherished local legend and public attraction creates a complex reality. The community is left to navigate a delicate balance, protecting the sanctity of their home and their mystery while sharing a piece of it with a curious world. The light itself remains unchanged, a silent observer to it all, oblivious to the quiet conflict it inspires between those who call it family and those who only wish to capture a glimpse. New tools are now turning toward the dark fields of Oak Grove, bringing a scientific precision to a legend built on human sight. The most significant of these is the drone, equipped not with standard cameras, but with thermal imaging systems. These devices see the world in heat signatures, not visible light. A deer in the woods, a warm engine in a parked car, even a patch of sun-warmed earth, all glow with their own distinct thermal fingerprint. Investigators using these drones fly precise grids over the reported hot spots, hoping to catch the Oak Grove light not as a glow, but as a sudden, unexplained heat source floating in the cool night air. The logic is compelling. If the light is a form of plasma or a ball of energized gas, it should radiate a detectable amount of heat. A few teams have reported brief, anomalous thermal contacts, fleeting blips on their screens that appeared for a second and then vanished without a trace. Yet these contacts have been too brief and too isolated to provide any real data. The light, it seems, remains as elusive to infrared sensors as it is to the human eye. Another piece of sophisticated equipment aimed at the mystery is the spectrometer, a device that can analyze the specific composition of a light source. If you could point a spectrometer at the orb, it could theoretically tell you what the light is made of, breaking its glow down into a unique chemical fingerprint. Is it the burning spectrum of methane from swamp gas, the signature of ionized air from an electrical discharge, or something with a composition that does not match any known earthly source? This is the tantalizing promise of the technology. In practice, however, capturing a stable reading of the fleeting light has proven nearly impossible. The light appears too briefly and moves too erratically for the sensitive instruments to get a clean lock. The few fragmented spectra that have been captured are inconclusive, offering hints but no definitive answers. The greatest challenge technology faces is the very nature of the phenomenon itself. High-sensitivity cameras mounted on sturdy tripods can record for hours in near total darkness, but the light often manifests as an overwhelming overexposure, a white blob that obscures any internal structure or detail. It refuses to hold still for a clear portrait. The data gathered so far is a collection of frustrating maybes and almosts. We have thermal anomalies that could be the light, or it could be a bat flying past the lens. We have fragmented light signatures that are not quite like anything else, but are not clearly alien either. The technology has not yet failed, but it has not yet succeeded. It has instead deepened the mystery by demonstrating just how difficult the Oak Grove light is to pin down in any objective, measurable way. It dances just outside the reach of our most advanced tools, a phantom that seems to know the rules of the game and chooses not to play by them. The legend of the light has not remained confined to whispered stories on a dark road. Its glow has spilled over into the wider world through television screens, book pages, and even canvas. A local Arkansas news station first featured the phenomenon in a special segment in the late 1990s, treating it with a mixture of respectful curiosity and gentle skepticism. The report included grainy, handheld footage and earnest interviews with lifelong residents, giving the mystery its first major public platform and validating the experiences of an entire community. This media attention was a double-edged sword. It cemented the Oak Grove lights as a regional attraction, but it also began to standardize the narrative, repeating the tragic railroad worker story until it became the official, albeit unverified, explanation for a new generation. Years later, a nationally syndicated paranormal documentary series dedicated an entire episode to the lights. The producers brought in night vision cameras and audio equipment, hoping to capture definitive proof. The resulting hour of television was atmospheric and suspenseful, but it ultimately followed a familiar pattern. It presented the local folklore, showed reenactments of the ghost story, and documented the team's own fruitless vigil. While they captured a few distant, ambiguous lights, the evidence remained as elusive as ever. The true impact of such programs is not in solving the mystery, but in amplifying it. They transform a local tale into a national one, introducing the haunting image of that solitary orb to millions of viewers who will now carry the story with them. This process mythologizes the phenomenon, layering it with production music and dramatic narration that forever alters how we perceive it. The light is no longer just a light, it is a television character. Beyond documentaries, the lights have inspired a quiet but persistent stream of creative work. A local folk artist paints serene, almost melancholy landscapes of the Oak Grove field at dusk, always with a single, soft amber orb hovering near the tree line. Her paintings sell quickly, not as proof of the paranormal, but as beautiful representations of a story that defines her home. A self-published author from a neighboring town wrote a fictionalized novel based on the legend, weaving a tale of lost love and redemption around the spectral glow. These artistic interpretations are powerful because they are not concerned with evidence. They explore the emotional truth of the mystery, the feeling of wonder and loneliness the light evokes. Each painting, each story, adds another layer of meaning to the phenomenon, enriching the legend far beyond the limits of a scientific report or a ghost story. When you see that artist's rendering of the light, you are not just seeing a possible natural event, you are feeling the soul of the place as interpreted by someone who lives there. This cultural journey, from local news to national television to community art, demonstrates how a mystery evolves. The core experience remains the same, a light in the darkness. But the story we build around it, the one we broadcast and paint and write about, becomes a living entity of its own, forever shaping what future witnesses will believe they are seeing. The first documented sighting in the modern era came from a schoolteacher in 1968, whose report to local authorities gave the phenomenon its first official record. She was driving home just after dusk when a single, warm orange light emerged from the woods and began to pace her sedan. It matched her speed for nearly a mile, a silent companion that refused to be outrun before it vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. This account set a precedent, establishing the light's now famous behavior of intelligent interaction with vehicles. A decade later, in 1979, a local farmer named Walter Higgins provided one of the most detailed early testimonies. He was checking fences on his property, the very land that borders Oak Grove Road, when he saw the light hovering motionless above his lower pasture. Through his binoculars, he described it not as a blur, but as a perfect sphere of shimmering amber, its surface seeming to ripple like heat haze on a summer road. It remained there for a full 10 minutes before drifting slowly into the tree line and disappearing, leaving no trace. The 1980s brought the phenomenon to a wider audience. In 1985, a family traveling from a neighboring state pulled over to consult a map and witnessed the light perform its most dramatic recorded maneuver. It appeared as a brilliant white orb that darted back and forth above the field in a series of sharp, 90-degree turns, movements that defied the laws of physics as we understand them, before shooting straight upward and fading from view. This event was significant because there were multiple witnesses, including 2 children whose independent accounts matched perfectly. The digital age began to capture the mystery, however poorly, in the late 90s. In 1997, a group of college students from the University of Arkansas used a newly purchased camcorder to record a 13-minute segment of the light. The footage, while grainy, clearly shows the orb bobbing and weaving in a slow, hypnotic dance. It was this tape that first caught the attention of a paranormal investigation group, drawing organized outside interest to the quiet community. The new millennium has continued the trend. In 2008, a team of geologists conducting an unrelated soil survey set up sensitive magnetometers in the area. On their second night, their equipment registered a powerful, localized electromagnetic spike at the exact moment one of them observed the amber light floating near the old railroad bed. This correlation between a visual sighting and an instrumental anomaly remains one of the most compelling pieces of physical data ever associated with the lights. Most recently, in 2019, a dash cam from a passing sheriff's deputy captured a few seconds of a faint, glowing sphere just as it winked out of existence. The deputy reported seeing the light for several seconds before it vanished, and the time-stamped video, while brief, provides an official, time-stamped record from a trained observer. This timeline, stretching from the 1960s to the present day, is not just a list of dates. It is a narrative of persistent mystery, a chain of credible witnesses from all walks of life whose separate experiences form a single, unbroken thread of wonder. What does it mean for a mystery to endure so long, outliving technologies and generations, yet always remaining just one step beyond our grasp? A skeptic would tell you that every ghost story begins with a simple misunderstanding of the real world. The most grounded explanation for the Oak Grove lights is the least glamorous one: misidentified ordinary sources. That distant amber glow pacing a car could easily be the headlights of a vehicle on a parallel road, its path distorted and magnified by the unique atmospheric conditions of the river valley. Layers of warm and cool air act like a lens, bending light and creating mirages that appear to hover and move with a life of their own. What looks like a deliberate dance could be nothing more than the slow drift of air currents, shifting that lens and making the projected light seem to glide. The light's sudden disappearance is the final, crucial piece of this puzzle. The moment a car turns off its headlights or drives behind a hill, the source for the reflection vanishes, and the phantom light winks out instantly. This theory does not require unknown physics or grieving spirits, only the well-documented principles of atmospheric refraction, the same phenomenon that creates a shimmering puddle on a hot highway. Another powerful culprit is terrestrial in nature, the modern proliferation of radio towers and cellular antennas. Their bright, pulsing warning beacons are designed to be seen from miles away. On a perfectly clear night, you might see the direct light, but on a night with a thin, drifting fog or a haze of high clouds, that steady red or white beacon can be transformed. The moisture in the air scatters the light, softening its edges and creating a diffuse, glowing orb that appears to float independently. As the clouds shift, the light might seem to move, bob, or even vanish as it passes behind a thicker bank of fog. To a hopeful observer already primed by the local legend, this atmospheric scattering becomes a supernatural event. What about the claims of intelligent interaction, the light that seems to pace a vehicle? A skeptic would point to a simple illusion of geometry. If you are driving on a curving road like Oak Grove Road, and there is a distant, fixed light source on a distant hill, your own changing perspective and motion can create the perfect illusion that the light is moving alongside you. It is the same reason the moon appears to follow you on a nighttime drive, a compelling trick of parallax that feels deeply personal but is utterly impersonal. These explanations form a cohesive, logical argument that requires no leap of faith. They propose that the human mind, especially one steeped in local folklore and searching the darkness for a sign, is exceptionally good at connecting random dots into a meaningful picture. The mystery of Oak Grove, from this perspective, is not what is in the field, but what is in our own heads, a timeless story we are desperate to believe is true. The air grows cold as the last sliver of sun vanishes behind the hills, plunging Oak Grove Road into a deep, velvety blackness. You pull your car onto the gravel shoulder at the very spot the old maps mark as the epicenter, turning off the engine and plunging the world into an almost shocking silence. The only light comes from a canopy of stars, impossibly bright away from the city's glow. Your own heartbeat seems loud in the quiet. This is the first rule of the vigil, patience. You have your camera mounted on the dashboard, its lens a dark eye staring into the abyss. A second camera, equipped with a night vision mode, rests on the passenger seat. You feel a mix of scientific curiosity and a primal, childlike hope, a strange cocktail of emotions shared by everyone who has ever waited here. Minutes stretch into an hour. The night is not silent for long. You hear the rustle of some small creature in the dry leaves, the distant, lonely call of an owl, the creak of your own car settling. Every distant pair of headlights on a far-off highway makes your pulse quicken for a moment before it passes, a reminder of the ordinary world still turning elsewhere. You watch the specific field, the one where so many accounts begin. Your eyes play tricks in the darkness, making shadows dance at the edge of your vision. You stare until the very blackness seems to shift and swirl, your mind desperate for a signal. This is the true test, the battle between anticipation and the mundane reality of a very long, very dark night. What are you truly hoping to find? Proof for the world, or a private confirmation that magic still exists in forgotten corners? Then something changes. It is not a light, but a feeling, a sudden charge in the air that makes the fine hairs on your arm stand up. The night insects fall silent all at once. You sit up straighter, your hands gripping the steering wheel, your senses screaming that you are no longer alone. You scan the tree line with renewed intensity, your breath held. Is that a faint glow deep within the woods, or just a trick of your light-starved eyes? The moment stretches, taut as a wire. The outcome of any single night here is never guaranteed. You might sit until dawn breaks without seeing anything more remarkable than a shooting star driving home with nothing but a stiff neck and a story about the one that got away. Or you might be the 1 in 100, the lucky witness who sees that amber sphere detach itself from the darkness and begin its silent, intelligent dance just for you. The value of the search is not solely in the finding, but in the act of looking itself, in willingly stepping into a mystery and adding your own night of waiting to its long and enduring legend. That quiet gravel shoulder has become an unlikely destination. The steady trickle of curiosity seekers drawn by the legend of the lights has woven a subtle but undeniable new thread into the local economy. Where once there was only darkness and the occasional passing car, you can now find small clusters of vehicles parked along Oak Grove Road on any given weekend night, their occupants hoping for a glimpse of the unexplained. This phenomenon, known as ghost or paranormal tourism, has transformed a local secret into a modest economic engine. The nearby gas station stays open an hour later, selling coffee and snacks to visitors bracing for a long vigil. The small diner in the next town over sees a late-night rush of people swapping stories over pie and coffee after their watch, a new tradition born from an old mystery. This influx is not a flood, but a consistent stream, proving that the allure of a genuine mystery holds a powerful, lasting appeal. Entrepreneurial locals have recognized this interest, giving rise to guided tours that offer more than just a map. One retired history teacher now leads small groups on weekend excursions, blending the ghost story with the actual, verifiable history of the area. He points out the remnants of the old railroad bed, shares the Quapaw legends of the land, and provides a safe, respectful context for the vigil. His tours are not about guaranteeing a sighting, but about enriching the experience, turning a passive wait into an engaging lesson in local lore. Another operation uses a different approach, offering van tours equipped with basic paranormal investigation equipment like EMF meters and digital recorders. Participants feel like active investigators, part of a real-life mystery hunt, and are willing to pay for that immersive experience. These small businesses thrive because they sell more than just a chance to see a light. They sell a story, a connection to a place, and the thrilling possibility of the unknown. This new attention brings a complicated duality to the community. On one hand, the extra revenue is a welcome boost, especially for small, family-owned establishments that operate on thin margins. A local craftsman sells hand-carved wooden ornaments of the glowing orb, and they are his best-selling item. The legend provides a unique identity that sets Oak Grove apart from countless other small towns, a special kind of fame that draws people in. Yet this very fame carries a cost. Longtime residents sometimes speak of a quiet loss, a feeling that their personal, almost sacred relationship with the light has been commercialized. The mystery that was once a piece of their family's history is now a product, a spectacle for outsiders. There is a tangible tension between the economic benefits and the sentimental value of their private legend. Can a community profit from its mystery without eventually cheapening the very thing that makes it special? The lights themselves offer no answer, continuing their silent dance, oblivious to the quiet economic revolution they have sparked on the dark roads below. Perhaps the most mind-bending explanation suggests the light is not a thing at all, but a place, a temporary window into a reality that exists just alongside our own. This interdimensional portal theory moves beyond ghosts and spacecraft into the realms of theoretical physics and ancient occult belief. Imagine our universe as a single page in an impossibly vast book with countless other pages pressed tightly against it. Most of the time, these pages, these dimensions, remain entirely separate, but what if, under the right conditions, a tiny pinprick could form between them? The unique geology of Oak Grove, with its subterranean pressures and piezoelectric energies, could theoretically create just such a weak spot, a transient tear in the fabric of space-time. The light we see would not be an object, but a glimpse of the energy or the very substance of that adjacent dimension bleeding through into our own. Its movement would not be a flight path, but the visual effect of the portal itself shifting, wobbling, or stabilizing. This elegantly explains its most bizarre behavior. The light's instantaneous vanishing act is not a departure, but the simple closing of that microscopic gateway. Its apparent intelligence and reaction to observers could be a fundamental property of this intersection, a natural feedback loop where conscious observation itself affects the stability of the breach. This idea finds a strange echo in both modern science and ancient wisdom. In theoretical physics, concepts like string theory and the brain multiverse propose exactly this kind of layered reality. The occult traditions of many cultures, from European alchemists to Siberian shamans, have long spoken of thin places, locations where the veil between worlds is permeable. They described seeing spirits and strange lights in these zones, interpreting them through their own cultural lenses. The Oak Grove light, in this view, is a modern manifestation of an ancient phenomenon, a naturally occurring thin place where the underlying structure of reality briefly becomes visible. The light does not come to us from afar, it is already here, existing in a parallel layer that we are normally blind to. When you stand on that dark road, you are not looking for a visitor, you are standing at the threshold. The true mystery is not what the light is, but what lies on the other side of that shimmering, silent door. Its most chilling trait is not its appearance, but its apparent awareness. For decades, witnesses have described a pattern of interaction that feels deeply personal. A car slows to a crawl, and the hovering orb slows its own drift, mirroring the vehicle's pace as if in a silent conversation. A group of teenagers shouts and waves, and the light pulses once, twice, a brilliant flash of white before it winks out. The most common and unnerving report is its response to a direct approach. The moment a person summons the courage to step out of their car and walk toward the field, the light simply ceases to be. It does not fly away, it does not fade. It vanishes in the space between one blink and the next, as if the act of being pursued breaks a delicate connection. This behavior is the core of the mystery because it suggests a consciousness behind the glow. A simple ball of gas or a reflection would not react to intention. It would continue its path, unaffected by the hopes or fears of the people watching it. This perceived intelligence forces a stark divide between possible explanations. If the light is a natural piezoelectric discharge, how does it know when a human being has decided to approach? There is no scientific mechanism for a geological phenomenon to perceive human intent. The ghost story, however, fits this behavior perfectly. A lonely spirit would naturally retreat from the living, preserving its solitude. The extraterrestrial hypothesis also aligns, proposing a sophisticated probe programmed to avoid capture or direct contact, yet our own minds offer another, equally powerful answer. When you are alone on a dark road, staring at a single point of light, your own perception becomes the most unpredictable variable. Could the light's reactive behavior be a grand, unconscious collaboration between witness and phenomenon? The human brain is wired to see agency in the unknown. When the light dims as you feel a pang of fear, is it reacting to you, or are you connecting two unrelated events, creating a story of interaction where none may exist? The sheer consistency of these anecdotal reports, spanning generations of observers, lends them a weight that cannot be easily dismissed. Whether the source is spiritual, extraterrestrial, or a profound trick of the mind, the light of Oak Grove seems to be not just a thing to be seen, but an entity that sees you in return. The dark fields of Oak Grove have become a modern altar for those seeking communion with the unknown. Beyond the casual tourists and curious locals, a different kind of visitor arrives with a specific purpose, drawn not just to see the light, but to speak with it. Paranormal investigation teams, armed with more than just cameras, have conducted formal seances at the edge of the tree line. In one documented attempt, a group formed a circle, held hands, and attempted to verbally invite the presence to manifest. They asked questions into the silent night, their voices a stark contrast to the usual quiet, pleading for the light to show itself or to signal in response. On that particular night, nothing happened, a common result that highlights the frustrating unpredictability of the phenomenon. Other practitioners of the esoteric arts view the location as a natural vortex of energy. They come to perform grounding meditations, placing their bare hands on the soil in an effort to feel the telltale hum of the earth's power they believe fuels the lights. Some have been known to bring quartz crystals, the very mineral thought to be at the heart of the geological theory, using them as focal points in rituals designed to amplify and attract the mysterious energy. The logic is beautifully simple. They use the Earth's own proposed mechanism as a key to unlock the mystery. These attempts are not about proof for the wider world, but about personal experience and a deeper, more intuitive form of understanding. The very act of performing a ritual at the site is a profound statement of belief. It transforms the field from a passive stage into an active participant, a sentient force capable of interaction. Whether through the formal language of a seance or the silent focus of meditation, these practices all share a common goal: to bridge the gap between our world and whatever intelligence or energy guides the light. They represent a fundamental human desire not just to observe a mystery, but to engage with it, to ask it questions and hope, against all odds, for an answer. So after all the theories and investigations, what truly remains unknown? The first and greatest question is the source of its apparent intelligence. How can a light consistently react to human presence, fleeing the moment a person steps forward with purpose? This suggests a consciousness we cannot measure, a mind behind the glow that remains its most guarded secret. We also still do not know why this specific location is the only stage for this performance. The Arkansas River Valley is vast, yet the light is fiercely loyal to one small stretch of land. Is there a unique confluence of geological forces here, a perfect storm of quartz and fault lines found nowhere else? Or is this place a true thin spot, a permanent weakness in reality itself? The nature of the light's energy defies categorization. If it is plasma, why does it not radiate significant heat? If it is a projection, how does it move with such independent grace? Our best instruments have failed to capture its essence, leaving us with blurry images and inconclusive data. This leads to the most profound uncertainty of all. Are we dealing with one single phenomenon or many? Is the ghostly lantern of folklore the same thing as the piezoelectric discharge proposed by geologists, which is the same as the extra-dimensional window considered by theorists? Or have we been conflating different mysteries under one name, trying to force a single answer onto a puzzle with multiple, equally strange solutions? These unanswered questions are not a failure of investigation, they are the very engine of the mystery. They are what pull new generations to that dark roadside, cameras in hand, hoping to be the one who finally sees the answer in the dance of the light. The enduring power of the Oak Grove phenomenon lies not in what we have explained, but in what steadfastly refuses to be explained. Theories come and go, but the light remains. We have walked through the scientific possibilities, from swamp gas to subterranean sparks, and found them wanting. We have listened to the ghost stories and felt their emotional pull, even as they faded against the hard light of historical record. We have looked to the stars and into the very cracks of reality, searching for an answer that fits every detail of this enduring performance. Yet after all the investigations, all the camera footage and personal testimonies, the Oak Grove light keeps its secret. It dances just beyond the edge of our understanding, a constant in a world of change. This is the true heart of its power, not the light itself, but the mystery it represents. In an age where so much is known and explained, a genuine enigma is a rare and precious thing. It reminds us that wonder is not a childish emotion to be outgrown, but a vital response to a universe still brimming with questions. The light invites us to look into the darkness not with fear, but with a curious and open heart, to accept that some things may simply be without needing to fit into our neat categories. It connects us to every human who has ever looked at a strange star and told a story, who has ever felt the chill of the unknown and leaned in closer instead of looking away. So we leave this mystery with you, not as a problem to be solved, but as an experience to be shared. What do you believe glows in the Arkansas night? Have you witnessed something similar in your own corner of the world? Share your thoughts and your own stories in the comments below and become part of the next chapter in this endless, captivating story.